Hey, I don't think I made a specific video about this before. I don't think I have, even though I mentioned it in my free book on Fujifilm. Of course, it's applicable to any camera. Also, too, people were asking about the front window on the X Pro 1, X Pro 2, X Pro 3, but it's applicable to any camera. Something you should never ever do as a person that has fixed countless thousands of cameras over the years and knows more about this topic than any of the rest of these knuckle dragging monkeys on YouTube with the photography channels. You should never ever use canned air. Never ever use it on your camera. The primary reason why you should never use it on your sensor is it only blows dust further back into the camera, and something that you don't know is the actual shutter mech, specifically those Teflon-coated Kevlar shutter blades, or even the older ones. They're extremely fragile, and the one thing that actually causes shutter mechanical failure 99% of the time is warpage. When they're actually reciprocating really fast, there's a first curtain and a second curtain. Each curtain has 3 blades. Yes, they're moving really fast. When they actually hit a dust particle, it causes them to warp in ultra fast movement. And when they warp, when they actually hit a tiny dust particle, it causes deformation of the shutter blades. When you actually blow canned air, it's like, well, I know you're not supposed to spray the canned air past the mount. It doesn't matter. That pressure is so extreme, the curtains are actually up in there, and it actually rushes to the cover glass over the sensor, then it goes laterally to the shutter mech, and it'll cause warpage in the blade. You could actually prematurely kill your friggin' camera. Never use canned air. The other reason why you shouldn't use it, what about the outside of my camera? You should never use it on the outside of your camera. On DSLRs, for example, all it does is it blows dust further in. It'll get not only underneath the screen on your DSLR, it'll get in behind the viewfinder where you're never going to get it out unless you're to disassemble the camera, which is an astronomical pain in the crotch. And on an X Pro 3, X Pro 2, or any other camera with a viewfinder window, there is a seal around the top plate and the window for the viewfinder. Not only the viewfinder you look through, but the viewfinder, the front cover glass. It'll get in the dust. All you'll do is blow the dust in behind there. It's like, oh damn, now I got these dust spots inside the optical viewfinder of my X Pro 1, X Pro 2, X Pro 3. It'll blow the dust further in. You're like, I'm going to blow it around my buttons. No. Canned air should never be used. It was bad enough on film cameras, but with film cameras, you open up the back, there's no big issue. There's always dust getting in there because you're constantly opening and closing the back and dropping in film, and dust was getting in there. And people say, when you use it canned air, and of course I had endless numbers of film cameras, don't get near the shutter mech. Shutter mechs, depending on the camera back then, were made out of metal. They were made out of metal, or they're fabric curtains, so it wasn't really an issue. But that canned air crap has moved over to digital, and it is a huge frigging mistake. Never, ever use canned air on your camera. Not the sensor, not even the outside of the camera. Now, I've owned countless air blowers. You think, well, this is a gimmick because it's shaped like a grenade. Yeah, what's a gimmick? I've owned a lot of air blowers. I've got probably 30 air blowers in this house, all over the frigging place. Go on eBay and buy one of these. Like, why? It's a gimmick. It's just shaped like a grenade. Actually, the nature of which this sucks the air back in after you've blown the first puff out, it actually sucks it in much quicker, so you actually get a faster return. It's easier and faster to... These are actually the best air blowers I've ever used. Just type in grenade air blower on eBay. I got a few of these. They're the best. But use an air blower also, too, to get the dust out. Before you use the air blower, when I remove it, then blow away whatever remains, use these. Use brushes. Yeah, brushes. Also, too, on the DSLR light box, where the dust is actually getting in because you don't keep the rear of your camera lens clean, and it migrates from the rear of the lens to the light box. This will actually cover the outside of the end of a brush with sticky tape, where the sticky's facing outward. I'll use the brush around the light box with the mirror up, of course, and that actually removes the dust particles that are stuck to the felt black flocking. That's what it's called, black flocking, basically fabric that lines the inside of the mirror box. You can also use that with mirrorless if you know what you're doing. You're not sticking the sticky stuff to the sensor. You're just going around the spots around the sensor mask. On a mirrorless camera, it's a sensor mask. On a DSLR, it's your light box. But don't buy canned air. It's a big, stupid-ass mistake. That crap was migrated over from film cameras, and it never should have. But of course, the idiots that are making that canned air want to, keep selling that garbage. And they see it, put it in camera store. Hey, get you some canned air. Don't use canned air. Okay? I made the reasons, the logic, and the facts behind it very straightforward and simple. It's undeniable. Don't buy the crap. And don't use it on your digital camera. Okay? Okay? Don't use it on your lenses either. It'll also blow the crap around the rear element, especially the rear element. It'll actually blow it around there. It'll get in there and never get it out. Big mistake. Don't do it. Okay? Don't use it on your lenses either. Phew. Use a brush. If you got dust around the crack, the butt crack as I call it, or the front element in the body, use a brush. Go to your local hobby store and buy a $3 pack of 4 or 5 brushes. Will last forever. And to clean them, use distilled water and let them dry out. Yeah? Thank you so much for watching. This is a tip from the guy that knows. Okay? Don't use canned air. Boom. Bye.